Welcome to the Chris Gunther Show. It's basketball season here in the Mahoning Valley. Today, I sat down with Coach Cylar, head coach of the East High School basketball team, to discuss the excitement about basketball season. First of all, congratulations on the phenomenal football season that everybody had.
Appreciate it.
So, man, first of all, how's that excitement carrying over, do you feel, into basketball season?
It's kind of like it's over with. You know what I mean? We ended the season with a loss, so pretty much it kind of like took the fire out of it, and you kind of restart going to basketball and use everything that you learned from the football season, and try to make sure that don't happen again. We had a state championship team.
Yes.
So proud of the boys, happy for their accomplishment. Yet it's just we didn't finish the job.
So do you feel that because you guys did not finish the job, now all that does is just ignite the fire inside you to be like, now I have to take it out on my basketball players?
Yeah.
And that's how it's supposed to be, because you are one of the best coaches I believe that this area has ever seen. Your resume, man, speaks for itself, because I remember when you were coaching at Ursuline, even though you were the assistant coach, you weren't necessarily in the limelight as much. Anybody that knows football in that area will tell you that Cylar is the reason why they got them 3 state championship rings consecutively.
Well, I don't know about that. We had a lot of talent there.
I mean, you had a lot of talent, correct. But the talent needs a coach, needs somebody to guide them, and that's exactly what you did.
Well, I appreciate that. Guys they bought into it. I mean, you talk about Coach Smith, had the weight room going, and he just worked them so hard, and so that when we went out on the football field, it was just really like stealing candy from a baby. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
So what made you decide to come back to basketball?
It was a need. I mean, it wasn't a lot of people really interviewing for the job, and this is my alma mater. I'm very proud.
Yes.
Youngstown, East Side kid, and before, I stood around and let them give it to anybody. You know what I mean? I said, well, I'm willing to put the work in and try to, bridge that gap.
When you mentioned bridging the gap, what is the gap do you feel that needed to be bridged?
Just bringing a new attitude to basketball, kind of bringing that football mentality, being tough, being disciplined, and just letting the kids understand that, it all starts with the mindset.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That just because you put a blue and gold jersey on doesn't automatically make you a loser. We want to change that narrative where, they feel like they're a winner.
Yes.
You know what I mean? As soon as you put the jersey on, but they understand that there's a lot of hard work that goes on behind the scenes to do that. So, that bridge is going to be long.
Yeah. It's crazy because when you took over for Liberty football, you guys went 10-2, 7-0 in conference play, and then, unfortunately got knocked out by Ursuline. But now you're known for helping teams and programs turn around. Last year, East was 9-14. What do you feel is going to be a good, productive year for the East High basketball team this year?
We're going to take it day by day in practices. A productive day is guys not getting in trouble in class.
Yes.
A productive day is guys getting along at practice and sharing the ball and listening to their coaches. So we'll take it day by day, and just like you stack pennies and they add up the dollars, we'll keep trying to stack up good practices, good days, and hopefully they turn into some great games. You know what I mean? But I'm not putting any expectations on the boys. We don't have one returning letterman. We don't have a kid who played any varsity last year. We don't have any kids who've played varsity structured basketball.
Yes.
So I think it would be a discredit to put any expectations on the kids as far as the court. All my expectations are coming off the court. You know what I mean? And in practices. And hopefully that correlates into some good basketball being played.
How important is it that every coach on your staff has a good enough relationship with their guys?
What's most important, I always tell my coaches that I'm going to blame you first before I blame kids, because if they didn't want to try to do something special, they wouldn't be here. Sometimes you got to reach a little deeper with certain kids. They're a little different. Everybody has a unique personality, but we're adults, and so I always want you to take that extra step to kind of relate to kids, no matter how difficult they may be, in order to bring out the best. Because high school is a unique experience, but it's so fleeting. It goes by so fast.
Yes.
And so sometimes, things can be misconstrued and misconstrued where you can hurt a kid's feelings, or you can lose a kid by words, by actions. So I'm just always on my coaches about, hey, we got to reach these kids no matter what. There is no alternative. It's all about motivating and inspiring them to be the best they can be.
Motivating and inspiring is something that you do. You have a saying, don't be afraid to be great. Where did that come from?
Just when I first started over at Cheney, had a bunch of guys, Mike Gibson and Clarence Howe and Carrington Moore and O'Kella, and I had a bunch of basketball players that were good back then, Lett and Shaw, and it just seemed like, it was a lot of kids who just felt like average was okay. And I would just always tell them, like, don't be scared to be great. Why not you? I was my first time coming back to the city to coach way back then, and I always just felt like, if it's to be, why not me? So don't settle for average. Don't be scared to be great. And that just became my motto. Like, a lot of inner city kids, they live around a lot of mediocrity, a lot of average things going on, and so sometimes, they tend to settle or be complacent. And I just wanted them to kind of push past that level, to greatness. So
you've had some great players such as Akeem T, Jamel Biggs Turner, and then of course the standout for Kentucky, Lynn Bowden. When you see your former players exceed and do some great things, what does that make you feel like as a coach?
It makes me feel good, but I don't really get caught up in with watching Lynn and the great plays that he make. I'm most impressed with, I see him with his son. When I see him, kissing on his son and lifting him up and playing with the basketball with him, that's what I'm most impressed with. When I see him spending time with his little brother, giving back a little bit. Anytime I call him, he's easy access to talk to the boys at East. Always mentoring my son Zane like it's his little brother. They grew up, together, sometimes in the same household. So just see him giving back. That's more important. I've seen Lynn do so many jaw-dropping things that it's really difficult for Lynn to do something that brings me out my seat.
Yes.
Because I've seen him do so many phenomenal things that it's like common.
He's done some great things, and you have now you're getting ready to take on a brand new challenge as the head coach in East High School, something that I'm looking forward to seeing you do, because I don't believe there's any challenge that you cannot accomplish. One of the biggest challenges here in this city is the lack of black coaches in our schools. Why do you feel that is?
I don't know if I could be as candid as I would like to be, but just probably deep-rooted things that have, that is a bigger reflection of society as a whole. And so, you just have to overcome challenges that, people, minorities have been overcoming all of their life.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And then it's just, you have to understand, if you had a corporation and, it was your sister coming to interview for a job and she was qualified versus another individual you didn't know who was just a little bit more qualified, you probably would pick your sister. It's human nature. So,
yes.
People tend to hire people who look like them, who act like them, who they know. And so that's what you have in this city. You have, sometimes people tend to stick with the people they know, who they're familiar with, And so thus, you may have a lot of lack. That's why every time I've coached, I've always tried to reach back to kids that I've coached and give them an opportunity.
Yes.
And that could be white. I've coached white kids, black kids, rich kids, poor kids, but period. I try to reach back to the ones that I know. So it's natural, I don't get caught up in what jobs I can't get and what jobs I can. To be honest with you, this is the best job I ever had.
Wow.
So, I'm fortunate to be here.
And I know that East is very fortunate to have an alumni such as yourself come back here and coach these kids, not only on the court, but off the court. A lot of times the coach is a father figure, especially in this area when not a lot of fathers are in their kids' lives. But to see you doing this is amazing. So first thing that's going to hit your mind when that ball rolls onto the court is going to be what?
Don't get blew out. Just as long as we show toughness, just be reflective of how the people in Youngstown are going back from the steel mills. My grandmother, she scrubbed floors to buy her first home.
Yes.
So I bring that mentality to everything I do. And I want to make sure that these guys have that same mentality. You know, get on the floor for a ball. Let's rebound. Let's box out. Let's play tough. And if, at the end of the night, you know, if Boardman is at the their score is higher than ours, but yet we were battling and we played hard, played with good sportsmanship, I'm satisfied with that.
And that's what it's all about. So the East High Golden Bears tip off their season November 30th against the Boardman Spartans. You had already mentioned it. Who else do you guys have on the schedule this year? That's going to be like a key game for you.
Anytime you play against people that these kids grow up with, there's keys. So you always got to point to the Ursuline matchup, going up against a great coach like Keith Gunther, who's shown that he can do it with multiple teams, different kids. And a lot of these kids play around with each other, so that'll be pivotal, definitely, for the kids. Little hometown thing, Catholics versus the inner city kids. You know what I mean? So.
And I've had some pretty good battles with Catholics and inner city, especially here, because it's just something about playing East that you like. Okay, I got to bring it because the fans are going to be into it, the coaches are going to be into it. And it's nothing personal. It's strictly business, and you got to come here, ready to battle, ready to fight. And that's what you guys are going to bring this year, have that battle, fight mentality, because at the end of the day, the Golden Bears are back.
No doubt. We're definitely, the mentality has changed around here. And not just on the sports avenue, in the classrooms, in the hallways, with the respect factor. We're not perfect here, but we definitely have a group of people here that are putting in extra time and trying to develop young men and women, you know what I mean, to be respectful and to prepare them for life, not necessarily go to Division I colleges or the NBA or the NFL, but to, be great husbands and great fathers and great citizens.
I remember back in 2014 when I first started radio, and I reached out to you. You said, Chris, if you take that same mindset and that same work ethic that you had on the court into the radio, look what can happen. So I want to publicly say thank you, Coach.
Oh, no doubt,
Appreciate you, man.
I wish I had a Chris out there, a bulldog. Like you used to go hard, man. You were a tough-nosed kid, man, and that's the type of kid like that. That's what I want to build my program around. Just a tough kid. I don't need the flashy kid. I don't need the kid with all the hype. I need the kid that's just going to come out here with passion.
Y'all heard what he said, Chuck's passion. That's how it's supposed to be.
Everything you do in life, you got to do it with passion.
You do, and nothing else needs to be asked. Make sure you guys get out here to support the East High Golden Bears November 30th against Boardman. Thank y'all for watching. Appreciate you, Coach.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks.
Hey, guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to this page. I'm Chris Gunther. I'll see you next time.